Who is your daddy? I am your father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
Let me just turn off the camera so I don't have to look at you. There we go. Got it.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Well,
Actually thought I looked kind of cute today. And to start the show off, I had Cliffy B tell me I was sexy as fudge.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
The Cliffy B.
The Gears of War Cliffy B. That was all in fun though, because he came out and he had like some post. It honestly, I know it isn't just Nate Bacon. He probably gets harassed all the time by people because of his personality. He's very cocky and arrogant. Yeah. And so he came out and he had a post on Facebook, and I just started following him because of Nate Bacon going at it with him. So I just added him, and this was the first post he had posted since I added him, and he basically came out and said, look, if you just started following me, I've always been cocky. If you can't handle that, get the F out. And then he starts talking about how he loved Gears, but he's moved on. That was part of his life, but it's in his past, so get over it. And then he said some other stuff, and so I commented to Cliffy on. I made two comments. One, I said this looks like a direct reply to Nate Bacon, because Nate Bacon on his previous post had basically attacked him about, you know, how hard he is on Gears and how he's not the same person he used to be. So it almost was like a reply to Nate, like, hey, if you can't handle who I am, get out of here. And then right underneath that, I put I'm also cocky, and something I don't remember exactly, but I basically said I'm also cocky and I look good too, or something like that. And I put a picture. You've probably seen the picture before. It's my selfie, but with like hearts around my face.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
And I put
oh my gosh.
I put hashtag match made in heaven, like basically me and Cliffy B being together. So some guy replied back with gross, because I guess he didn't like my gay love attempt. And then Cliffy B responded right underneath it. He's like, sexy as AF.
Nice. Nice. Well, that's all the approval you need, really. I mean,
life is complete.
Yeah.
Like when I had that whole thing with who's the football player that I
JJ Watt.
JJ Watt. When I got hit on by all those girls, that was nothing. Having Cliffy B say you're sexy AF.
Yeah.
Life complete. Lord, take me now. Lord, take the wheel and then drive that car off a cliff and take me home, baby.
Straight to Cliffy B's house. Where I belong.
Right where I belong. No, but it was all in fun.
Well, listen, I just want to say on behalf of everyone, congratulations on your newfound love. And I wish you and Cliffy B the best.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, can you make Gears of War 5?
Nate Bacon will probably actually do the wedding for us.
Okay, good.
So he could tell Cliffy what a piece of crap he is the entire time.
Can you make sure that Gears of War 5 heavily features a gay love story? Just to match yours and Cliffy's.
Oh, this is what I said. I knew there was two things I said to him. I said, because his post was about lawbreakers too. I said, I like lawbreakers and I'm cocky. And then I said, Cliff and I, and then hashtag match made in heaven.
Oh, boy. There's part of me that wonders how your mind works, and then the other part of me is like, no, don't ever find out. Don't ever discover how that mind works.
I enjoy making people laugh.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to say it's because I need attention every 5 seconds, that's fine. I don't care. I like to make people laugh. I don't even expect people like Alana and Cliffy to respond to me when I'm obviously like jokingly hitting on them, but they do, and I enjoy it. It's fun.
Speaking of which, I was listening to part of Podcast Unlocked the other day, and I heard Ryan McCaffrey. I like him a lot. I think he's a great podcast host, and he's got the radio voice. He had Marty on there. He usually is somewhat insightful, at least. And then he had Alana and Dustin, and both of them are worthless in the conversation. They can both go. I'm sorry to tell you, but they don't need to be on any podcast shows. They had nothing to contribute. So, whatever.
I don't know. See,
Just wanna
I
throw it
always
out there.
felt like, and this isn't me going, oh, Lana's cute, so I like what she said.
Yes, it is.
Because I think, who's the other blonde chick? She's cute, but she's dumb as heck. Naomi?
Oh, they
Yeah,
had
so
her
they
on
used to
Unlocked
put
too, and it
Naomi
was
on
worth-
Unlocked,
yeah.
and I'm like,
They're like, "What's your favorite
why?
game?" She's like, Halo 4 just came out, I think.
yeah, I mean, she was the dumbest
No.
one. She obviously does
Yeah.
not play games. But Alana plays games, and she has some insight. She's just young. She lacks, like, knowledge of stuff we used to play, but I don't care about that.
Well, it's not so much that Alana doesn't know much about games. It sounds like she might, based on the podcast stuff. I just find her to be annoying, and she interrupts people all the time. Doesn't have that natural flow to the conversation. Maybe that's part of being young, but it's actually difficult to listen to because I feel like she's constantly interrupting with her thought.
I was going to interrupt you just to make the joke,
Yeah.
because I always get blamed for interrupting you.
We
but
both interrupt
I
each
think-
other, but there's
I was gonna
there's
say,
still
I
a
think it's
natural
mutual.
Yeah, there's a natural
I
flow.
hear you interrupt me all the time.
Yeah, there's a natural flow to our conversation, and I think that makes sense. For her, it's like every time, every topic, everything everyone says, it's a little much.
Well, it's like when Marty starts talking, it's like they're like married, so
Yeah.
she knows what he's gonna say, and she'll cut him off and be like,
she
"No, you didn't,"
overpowers
or
him a
something
bit.
like that.
But the
He's
one who
like,
bothers
"No,
me more
that's
than
not what I
anybody
was
else is
gonna say."
Destin. I feel like Destin is just, I don't know, there's something about him that just really bugs me. I don't know if
Destin likes like 4 games, and
Yeah.
that's it. So if you're not talking about one of his 4 games, he has nothing to contribute, and he's just not even funny.
No, he's not. And again, he doesn't have to be funny, but I just feel like he's not usually very knowledgeable. He gets a lot of stuff wrong. He's not fun to listen to. There's just, I just don't. But that makes you really appreciate the good ones. So when you listen to, like, I think Ryan McCaffrey's very good.
No.
You don't think he's good?
See, I agree with you on Ryan McCaffrey is a good host.
Yes, that's what I mean.
As far as
That's what I mean.
I think he does a good job of keeping the show moving along. He's got a good
Right.
radio voice, but I think his opinions on like Microsoft and business and stuff like that, I'm like, you're a delusional
But I like
idiot.
Per Schneider.
That's
He's
me.
now the new host of NVC now that Jose
Yeah.
left. I like
Yeah.
Per, so I'm
I
looking
love
forward to
Per.
that. And of course there's others that I enjoy a lot too. Us, I think we're the
All right,
best.
but-
So.
We're here for us. We don't care about Unlocked and
Yeah.
NVC, and I've not listened to Beyond in probably 2 years, so I don't care to talk about them either.
That's right.
All right.
Well, here we go. That was the longest intro ever into episode 78. But we're just gonna jump
So
right in.
let's do a quick wrap up. So if
Yeah.
Jose Jimenez decides to skip
Yeah.
like he does football,
Yeah.
all you need to know is that Cliffy B hit on me, and that's it.
There you
That's
go.
all you need to know.
That was the
There you
summary.
go. Yeah.
And
skip.
we have very strong opinions about people who get paid at IGN for some reason. I don't know why. We just do. All right. Let's talk about stuff that we're playing that's new, because we already covered a bunch of stuff we're playing last week. I am literally not playing anything different than I was last week. Still playing.
Have you beat Mass Effect Andromeda?
No, ever since we talked last week and you told me make sure you do a lot of the loyalty stuff, and a
Yeah.
few of them in particular take a lot of work. Like Liam's, you have
Mhm.
to settle each planet, and those are taking a while, but I'm having a lot of fun. So I'm down to my last planet that needs to be settled, but I'm also doing some more side quests there. So it's your fault. I was really starting to mainline the thing, and you got me distracted. I want a good ending. So.
I want to say Liam's, after you, and maybe you've already done the mission, after you 100% the planet, his particular mission is really cool.
Cool.
I think his main mission, I think it's after you do all the planets. So hopefully you'll do that this week, and hopefully you'll see what I mean by it being pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about it next
Yep.
week. So
No,
hopefully you'll
I
finish
feel like that. I mean, I'm just at level 30, so I'm pretty strong, and I've really focused in on the soldier skills very much, with very heavy on the guns, and lots of bonuses for hovering and for taking cover, and lots of stuff like that, with a few biotics here and there. But I'm really letting my sidekicks be the
I'm
biotic
all
powers.
soldier.
Yeah.
The first time I played it, I did a mix of bionics, and I was literally split 50-50. I think I was a Vanguard.
Okay.
I think that's
Yeah.
biotics.
Yeah, that
and,
unlocks pretty early once you
soldier.
open up a few
Yeah.
skills on both trees. Yeah.
So I did. I just did on my second playthrough with PC, which I think I'm a level 23. I just did strictly soldier because when I started playing and getting deeper into my first playthrough, I found that I like the soldier specials more. Like I like the grenades. I like what's the other one I use all the time? Like the flak cannon.
The flak cannon's cool. I still use the original shot that comes with it. I powered that thing all the way up, and it's
the
really
concussion shot.
The concussion shot is great.
Yeah, I have that one fully upgraded. So I love. I only do the 3 special abilities. I do grenades, flat cannon and the concussion shot, and I enjoy just using those 3. I don't mix it up at all.
Yep.
And then I just level up my weapons and my character,
Yep.
like my soldier character.
It is cool the way that they really allow you to specialize. If you want to be more of a melee tank who does a lot of jumping around, you can do that. If you want to be a distance sniper who can hover a lot, you could do that. Right now I'm kind of a combo assault rifle and sniper rifle soldier who I get a ton of bonuses from hiding in cover and then popping out and shooting, and then it really quickly regenerates health as well as gives you a ton of resistance if you're in cover. And so to me, it's become a very strong third-person shooter game. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it.
Just wait until you start. And I was talking to Rob Rinaldi about this last night. We were playing Destiny, and he's like, "I'm trying to, what is it called? Use my jetpack." He wanted to like jump and then like skip to the right or the left. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah. Every game I play now, I keep trying to use my jetpack, and then the other thing I do is I'll tap down on the right stick because I want to switch from right to left.
Yeah, that's really handy when you're in soldier mode because that cover.
So when I was
you can peek around the corners a lot better.
When I was first playing the game, when I first played Mass Effect, I did not like the cover system, and I did not like switching the gun, like your hand, from left to right. I was like, this is dumb. This doesn't feel right. Other shooters don't do this. And then now every single game I play, I'm like, can I do it? Why does this game not let me do this? Yeah. So I'm really hoping third-person shooters will start doing that more. I'm not saying Mass Effect Andromeda is the only one. It's the only one I can remember that I was like caught off guard when I started playing.
No, I'm pretty sure even games like Uncharted allow you to switch. I think R3 switches it for that too.
It might be. I just remember and being caught off guard with Andromeda, and it didn't feel right, and then now every game I play, I want to try to do it.
Yep, I like it. It's grown on me quite a bit, so I'm still playing that, still playing a little bit of ARMS here and there, and trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, I just set my Xbox up. We've been in our house for a month, and I just put my Xbox One back on the entertainment unit there.
Sony Pony Nintendbot.
Yeah.
That's what you are.
Yep.
You're ashamed to this Xbox podcast. This is an Xbox podcast.
I'm a pony bot.
Don't even know that.
No, I'm a pony bot. And
You're a pony bot.
Yeah, I'll admit it. I want to play that system. There's just not a lot to play right there.
No,
because it's not my third-party system. So I shouldn't say there's nothing to play. If that's the only thing you own, you got tons of third-party stuff. But there's just not that much for me. But we will talk about Xbox here in a minute because there's a couple games for Game of the Year consideration, I think, for the Xbox One. All right. What about you? Are you playing anything new? I mean, I'm, again, really enjoying Mass Effect Andromeda. ARMS is still pretty fun. That's pretty much all I'm playing right now. What about you?
Nothing new. I've been focusing on... I played a little bit of Andromeda, but I didn't play much. I've been focusing on Forza Horizon 3. It's kind of been my main game. And then also, I started my third playthrough on PC of Deus Ex Mankind Divided because I was able to get the game plus the Season Pass on PC for a total of $19, and it came with all the other Deus Ex games.
Nice. Wait. It came with all the old Deus Ex games?
Yeah, I have Invisible Wars and the other one and Human Revolution.
That's great.
And all that stuff. Yeah, it's a great bundle.
That's good.
So I was able to get all that. I'm about 3 or 4 hours into it on PC. It looks gorgeous. But I want to talk about my new little toy I got this week. I'm real excited about this, and I won't take too long.
Is this about to get inappropriate? Should we tell parents to send their kids out of the room?
Yes.
Okay.
If any of my youth girls are listening, please turn off the audio and video.
That sentence could not have sounded creepier. All right, go ahead.
No, I as you guys know, and I've talked about it enough, I've got my PC. I also have a little 4K monitor. Now, I didn't get a real expensive 4K monitor because I didn't want to pay $1,000. If you want a legit one, you got to pay a lot of money. So I was like, no, not doing that. But anyways, I enjoy my monitor, but I have a desire to play on my big screen. So I was doing some research. I saw the Steam link was $15, and I was like, dude, that's perfect. You know, I can hook it up in the living room and it'll stream. As long as you have a good connection, like hardwired connection, it'll stream it and you can play it. And I was like, $15? Done. Well, I started doing research and I realized, well, you can do that and it works great, but it only does 1080p 60 frames per second. We all know.
Gross.
We all know.
Ugh.
1080p is disgusting.
Unplayable.
It's unplayable. I can't do it.
Can't enjoy games at that mediocre
so I started
resolution.
doing a little bit. So I started doing a little more research, and I realized they have a Shield TV. It's $200, but I was able to get it for $150, and I just used credit, like trade-in credit. But I was able to get that, and basically it streams. It's awesome, dude. I can't even tell you how easy it is. I just hardwired my computer to my network box to the Shield, popped it in, logged into my GeForce account, and all my games just appeared.
Whoa.
They were there.
Nice.
And then I hit on it. Like, for instance, I'll use the example, the main game I've been playing is Forza Horizon 3. I pop Forza Horizon 3 in there. It's optimized to play. I cannot describe to you guys, and again, if you're not a graphics guy, I'm a nerd, or you're getting angry at me right now, why are you spending all this money on graphics? But dude, this stuff looks amazing. It looks good on my monitor, but on my big screen with HDR lighting, and I turn the sharpness up, I have it all set up looking gorgeous.
Did you gather the family around and say,
off.
kids, it's time for you to see true beauty?
Yeah, actually, the boys were like in the room and they were watching me play Forza because I was playing the Hot Wheels DLC, and they're like, "Whoa, that looks good. That's super cool." And I'm like, "You want to play?" Yeah. And by the way, the controller for the Shield is kind of designed like an Xbox controller. Really nice controller. I really like it. So far, I totally love that little streaming box. There's more to it. It's not just for gaming. You can stream everything in 4K. Nice. So it's a really good box. When I bought it, the guy was even saying, "Oh, this is a great box."
There you go. Well, cool. So it's not so much new games you're playing, but you're experiencing them in whole new ways.
Yeah, and I'm enjoying it. I think that's what I'm going to do this summer. I'm not going to worry about backlog or anything. I'm just going to play what I want. And so hopefully I'll finish Andromeda, but I want to try to focus on Deus Ex because the game's awesome and fun. But I want to play the Season Pass stuff. I know Rudy said that at least one of the there's two story things. He said one of them's really good. So I really want to play that one, especially since I'm probably never going to get a Deus Ex game again.
Well, they might not make it anymore.
If I do, yeah, or if we do, it might be 5-10 years from now.
Exactly.
It's just not looking good. Right. So.
Yep. There you go. Well, nice. Very good. And it's funny that you mentioned, focus on the backlog of games, because I did mention something in the group about what did I call it? I called July a barren wasteland for video games, especially compared to the first 6 months of the year and then the final 4 months of the year. And that if you want to get talking about ponies, if you want to get ponies upset, tell them that there's nothing coming out in July, because they'll come out of the woodwork with all the PSN $10, $20 games that are coming out.
Nobody cares about that.
Listen, those might be fun, but
trash.
I just don't care. The only big game coming out in July, in my opinion, is Splatoon 2, and I do think that Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age is a big game, but again, it's a 10-year-old game now. Maybe
it's actually the only one I care about.
But it's not a new game. That's the thing. So
it's not a new game.
To me, that's almost another backlog game. Like, hey, there's a much better way to complete this game off your backlog. So I think that's awesome, but I don't consider that. So anyway, I think July is a pretty empty month in terms of major releases. Sorry if you disagree. Whatever. To each his own. But that to me is exciting because it's like, all right, I've got this game. I really want to finish out Mass Effect, but I really want to experience the whole thing. So I don't feel a big rush to really get to the end of Mass Effect quickly. I'm enjoying myself, and so I'm having fun with that game, just like I did with Mad Max. Just took my time and really dug into it and had fun. And then when it's over, it'll be over. So I'm really glad about that, and then hopefully I'll get a chance to tackle another backlog game before we get to August 8th, really is the next major release that I'm interested in. That's Hellblade. So that's the next time I'm super excited for a game to come out. So anyway, that's how you can make a Sony pony upset, is tell them that there's nothing coming out in July. So even though they've been telling Xbox gamers there's nothing on their system for the last 6 months, they're not totally wrong, but don't tell them the same thing. They'll get upset. All right. All right. Let's move along here. Oh, by the way, quick shout out to my absolutely badass wife. She went up what's called the incline today. It's this 2,000-foot elevate. It's essentially this giant staircase up the side of a mountain right here in Colorado Springs. And it's a mile long, but it's 2,000 feet up. So you're just basically going up these wooden steps built into the side of this mountain. From a distance, it looks like this giant kind of scar built into the side of the mountain from a distance. So she went. Her brother is here to visit with the rest of her family, and the two of them made it all the way to the top, and then made the 3-mile trek. There's a more gradual slope to work your way down. It's a 3-mile trek down. So, props to them. They're pretty awesome. Not sure I could have done that, but I cheered from a.
Not sure I would have cared.
Yeah, I cheered.
I wouldn't have.
I cheered from a distance. So congratulations to them.
Supportive hubby.
I'm super
Good
supportive
job.
when she could probably beat me up. Okay.
Now go bake me some cookies.
No.
Get in the kitchen, woman, and make me a sandwich.
Let me try that. Honey? No, she's not there. All right. I was totally going to do it. Did I sound scared? I was scared. My voice went up a little bit.
Yeah, that was not like a manly voice. You're like, honey?
Yeah.
Hoping she wouldn't
All right, let's
hear
try
it.
this again. Hey. Nope, she's not there. Okay. Let's move on. Let's move along. We're going to talk about the mid-year game of the year. It is now July. 6 months of 2017 are behind us. We hyped up 2017 as possibly one of the best years in gaming, even though we didn't know exactly what the year was going to look like, just based on the announcements building up to it. The first half of the year, in some ways, has met the bill, and in other ways, we'll talk about this shortly, I think there's been a few months that have been just okay. So we'll get there, and then we might do a quick preview of the rest of the year. But this week, the episode is really all about what have been the best games so far this year. And you and I already did a Q1 review about 3 months ago. So we won't dig in too much into Q1 games. That means we're not going to talk a ton about Horizon and Zelda and Nier and Neo. Those will be mentioned, but I really want to talk about what was best in Q2. And then we also have some results for you. You, the community, you voted. We got a lot of votes, a lot more than I anticipated. And so we have a few picks from you all on what the best games were so far this year. So we'll get to those as well. So first of all, let's talk about the best games according to Metacritic so far this year. So again, this is just Metacritic. Right. So start at the top here. This is no surprise. You saw this too, right? Thanks to that one reviewer, it was a 98. Who was it that brought it down? I forget the guy's name.
I know the Inquisition dude, Jim Quisition.
Yeah, isn't he the one who gave it a lower score, like a 6 or a 7?
I think he gave it a 7.
And then the average came down to a 97 from a 98. So mean. But that's The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Came out on March 3rd. Again, that was part of Q1, and that will definitely be an ongoing part of the conversation for Game of the Year. Amazing game. You and I both finished it now, and I think it's totally worthy of that Metacritic score. Will it win Game of the Year this year? Seems like a given for a lot of people. I'll be totally honest. It's not a total given for me for my personal favorite Game of the Year. It's definitely.
I know for me. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, okay. But I was just going to agree with you that objectively, I'm probably going to say Zelda Breath of the Wild wins it, right? But I'm going to still, and I did this last year, and I did it, when we talked the previous year when we started the show. There's still my games that I just love playing, and sometimes they're more than like a Zelda. Like if I keep playing Andromeda and I beat it like 3 times, it's more than likely gonna beat out a Zelda. Yeah. Like that's just how it works.
Which is like you said, this whole objective subjective thing. If you just allow someone to say, "Here's what I had the most fun playing," then I don't think Zelda is a 100% given, even for someone like me who is in love with the game. But anyway, that'll be part of the conversation moving forward. But the next game so far in 2017 was a Q2 release. It's the best rated game on Metacritic from April, May, and June, and that is Persona 5 for the PS4. Have you gotten much further into this, or are you still kind of stuck at there's too much talking?
14 hours in and just went into the second castle or whatever, so I'm just starting the second one. I'm not real deep. There's like a total of 8 of them, so it's not like I'm only got 2 more to go. No, I've got like 7 to do.
So I've played about, not Persona 5 yet, but for Persona 4 Golden, I played about 20 to 25 hours maybe. And I ended up putting that game down without meaning to stop playing it. I just didn't go back to it. A couple days passed, a couple weeks passed, and next thing you know, I didn't want to go back to it. Because the day after day repetition of going in, talking to someone, that day's over. Going in, talking to someone, go to the place, and then that day's over. And there's something about that repetition that I didn't feel a ton of satisfaction from that. Like after a while, I really got bored, and I really felt like I was wasting time. And then you go do a dungeon, and it felt very repetitive. Is that same gameplay loop pretty dominant in Persona 5, or is there a lot more to it than that loop?
It's exactly what it is. Like you basically, you have your daily routine, and some of the days are, already decided for you what you're going to do. Like, it'll show you going to school, maybe you answer a test question, you meet up with your gang and buddies, you talk, and then you go home and you maybe will try to do something. Like, sometimes I'll try to create a lockpick or something, and they'll tell the cat, that's my sidekick, will say, no, you're too tired today, go to bed. So then you go to bed, and then the next day, same routine, and then maybe the next day after that, they give you a little bit of freedom to do something where you can create a lockpick, or you can go socialize or whatever, but most of it's just like the same routine over and over, and it's a lot of talking. And I get it, they want to build this relationship. It's just a social aspect of the game, but it's like, I get it, we're all friends, but we don't need to talk this much.
Yeah.
Let's just go freaking do what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
It's almost like it was written by a bunch of women that are like, yeah, let's just like plan for like 50 days, and then the actual act of the thing is like 2 minutes, and that's what the game feels
You
like. Like,
are
it's
so
way
sexist.
too much.
It's ridiculous.
I am,
Yeah.
and I'm so sick of them talking. So stop. If you're a woman writer and you're over talking, stop it.
Yeah, Persona 5, man, there's just been so much good feedback about it. But then again, there was for Persona 4 too. People would mention it as the game
It's
to play
either
on the Vita.
your type of game or it's not. Like,
Yeah.
for me, like, when you started talking about Zelda, and I don't hate anybody that gives Zelda a low score, but as you were talking about it, like Jimquisition, who gave it a 7, I think there was somebody else who gave it a 7 too. And I was just like thinking, I'm like, how can you, as a reviewer, objectively, because again, a review should be built upon objectively and subjective.
Yeah, that combo.
It should be
right.
both.
Right.
It should be a combo. And I feel like a lot of reviewers, I'm not saying Jimquisition does this, but a lot of reviewers are more subjective than objective. And for me, Zelda, objectively, I couldn't give it less than a 9.5. Even if I didn't enjoy everything. And there are things that I didn't enjoy. But I couldn't because of all the things that it does and goes above and beyond.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my problem with sometimes with some of these reviewers is like they lean too heavily on the subjective, and I feel like with Persona 5, I get the stuff it does great, but I feel like they kind of blow it out of proportion of how great it is. And it's one of those games where it's either you like it or you don't. Like, it's either your style or it's not, because it's very draining. Like, I couldn't see somebody like Sasan liking it, because every time Sasan talks about video games, he can't stand over talking, he can't stand feelings and emotions and all that stuff, and I'm like, you would actually rate this game like a 0 out of 10, whereas somebody else would rate it.
Yeah,
a 10 out of 10.
before this year is over, and hopefully sooner rather than later, we need to get someone on here who loves Persona 5 so they can walk us through it. And but anyway,
I know somebody.
yeah,
I know somebody, but he's too annoying to put on the show.
Sure.
He's a little DFC baby,
right.
and he's not allowed.
Well, we made the
on there.
mistake of letting him come on the show once before, so that was that was a problem. All right, so we'll come back to Persona 5 in the future. I'm sure it'll be part of the conversation. I feel bad that I can't really speak to it, but from what I've heard, so many similarities to its predecessor that I don't feel super compelled to play it.
I think it's good. I think the story's probably better than what I had played of Persona 4.
Okay.
So I think it's worth a playthrough, but again, if you can't get past that stuff, like for me, I got hooked for one day I played like 8 or 9 hours, got through an entire castle, did it all in one day. It was a whole day I was off, no kids, and they were actually in Orlando, everybody was gone, and I enjoyed it, but after that I kind of got drained because I was like, back to talking.
Well, it's just a sheer amount of time, too. Everyone I hear talk about is like, I put 100 hours in, I put 160 hours in, I put 110 hours in. I'm like, holy smokes. Like, when I get to the 20, 25-hour mark, I'm kind of checking the how long to beat website. You know, how much longer is in this game if I get that far into it?
That's how I am, and then I know people could go, well, you guys are saying that Persona's too long, but what about Zelda Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
I'll explain real quick, and then we'll move on.
I played 55 hours of Zelda,
These-
by the way, total.
Zelda and Persona are totally different. Like, I can walk away for Zelda for 3 weeks and come back and not be
Which
confused.
I've done that. I did that with my playthrough.
I did it too.
Yep.
I walked away for 3 weeks, came back and was not confused.
Yep.
Why? Because you're just in this world. You just walk around. Persona, I walked away from that for a month, It came back, and I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Where am I? What you're telling me to go?
Makes
where?
a difference. Yeah.
I don't know where that is.
So there you go.
There's
There's a commitment to Persona 5 that's required. So that's
it's more linear.
It's a little off-putting for many gamers, but it's well loved by many others. So
yeah, I respect it objectively. Subjectively, I'm a little more.
It holds the crown for Q2 2017 in terms of Metacritic rating. So props to Persona 5 for that. The next 3 on Metacritic's rankings were either re-releases or combos of games, but I still list them, although I wouldn't consider them contenders for Game of the Year this year. But Mario Kart 8 Deluxe got a 92. Great game, one of my favorite games of the quarter. I'll talk about it in a bit, but of course it wouldn't be up for a quote-unquote official, as an official candidate for Game of the Year. Shovel Knight Treasure Trove on the Switch, and I believe it's either already on other systems or coming to other systems. Really great value for your money. I think it's $20, and you get original Shovel Knight, you get the Plague Knight game, you get the Spectre Knight, and then the upcoming King Knight. So essentially 4 full side-scrolling retro adventures, if that's your style. Really fun games. So good value there, and I think they're very high quality. Bayonetta came out on the PC, had a 90 on Metacritic. People are loving that. That's a cool re-release of that. I believe they even upscaled it a bit, right? It's kind of a...
Yeah, I'm going to get it. I'm going to wait for it to drop. It's $20 right now, and on Steam sale it's $15.
Yeah, people are loving it as they re-experience
that. Yeah, I want to
game.
get it under $10, and I think that would be a great game to play on PC.
So that one is at a 90, but those 3 won't count. So far you've got Zelda from Q1, Persona 5 from Q2, and then here's the next Q2 game, and that's What Remains of Edith Finch. I saw some folks on our groups talking about this. They really enjoyed it. Sounds like it has a really interesting and intriguing story. I haven't played it yet, but that has an 89 on Metacritic. So if you've got a PS4 or PC and you like those story-driven type of games, go check that one out. It's very well reviewed. Next up, just came out, Nex Machina Death Machine. I believe this is Housemarque's game. It's very flashy, very fast-paced, lots of shooting. I believe it's kind of like a, not overhead, what's it called? The... what's it called? That 3/4 view. It kind of has that kind of view to it, and it looks very fast-paced, twin-stick shooter style. Again, I haven't played it myself, but I've heard some very positive things from people. If you liked stuff like Resogun, another Housemarque game, then I'm guessing you would like this.
I will not like it, and I will never play it.
So that one's tied for second in Q2 with an 89 on Metacritic. All right, of course, in Q1, we talked about this already, Horizon Zero Dawn, one of the major releases of Q1, still sitting at an 89 Metacritic average, incredibly deserving of that score, and I'm looking forward to what's next for that franchise. I hope that becomes a full-fledged franchise. Q2 saw, and this is 4th place, this is Injustice 2. Injustice 2 has an 88 on Metacritic. I know you like this game, many others who have played it like it a lot. There's a lot of fighting game fans out there who are really digging this game, and it's got a cool story from what I've heard. At least for a fighting game, it has a cool story. So there you go. Injustice 2, people are liking that one. And then here's a few Q1 games. Nier Automata, we've talked about this. It's at an 88 on Metacritic. Night in the Woods, a PS4 and PC game. I think it's a side-scrolling kind of a mystery, very retro-looking game too, but people love that one. That's at an 88. And Neo. Neo came out, I think it was end of January or beginning of February. I forget when that was. That's at an 88 still as well. So those are the ones that have, so far for Q2 we've only highlighted Persona 5, What Remains of Edith Finch, Nex Machina, Death Machine, and Injustice 2. 4 games that I haven't played. And this is going to be a theme, at least from my point of view, as we talk about Q2 tonight. There's not a ton of games that released in Q2 that really got me excited. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. There was a few other re-releases. Cave Story Plus came out on the Switch. That has an 87 on Metacritic. Zero Escape, the Nonary games, came out for PS4, I think. That is a collection of previous games in that series. I don't know much about it. I think it's a virtual novel type of a game. Not really my thing, but people love it. It's at an 87. And then Dirt 4 came out earlier in June, and that's at an 87. Its highest ranking version, which I think was an Xbox One version, is at an 87. So Dirt 4. So that's a Q2 game. And then we have a DLC that I am not counting this again, just like we did with Witcher and stuff like that. I'm not counting it as a Game of the Year contender, but it's worth mentioning. At 87 Metacritic average, Forza Horizon 3 Hot Wheels, you mentioned earlier, is very well received right now, both on PC and on the Xbox One. People love it. It looks really cool. It looks like a lot of fun. That's a really cool.
It
It's worth
is.
mentioning, even though it's not an official contender, because it's DLC. Not DFC, it's DLC.
I think you should buy Forza Horizon 3. I think you would have fun. I know you don't like racers, but this isn't like your typical racer. It's open world. I don't know. It's like, especially with the Hot Wheels DLC, it makes you feel like you're playing cars when you were a kid. Like I remember for me when I was in the living room, I used to have this rug that was a circular rug, and then I'd put stuff underneath it to create like hills.
Yep.
And I would just play with my cars every day and have like NASCAR type races.
Yeah, and we had those
And
wooden
this is
blocks too, where you create ramps and all that kind of stuff. Yep.
And this is what this game feels like, and they've just done so many things that I like. Like I was telling my kids, when I had turned on the game today, I had 400,000 credits. That's in-game credits to buy a car, right? Which is good money, but if you want the really nice cars, you need to be over $1 million. Well, they have this whole auction system set up, so I had like duplicates of cars. So I threw them on the auction, and within 30 minutes, I had over $1 million. And I was like, holy crap.
Nice.
And they just make it so easy for you to make money. You can either earn it by just racing, or you can start selling your extra cars. You don't give a crap. And some of those cars, you get them for just leveling up in the game or winning races and stuff like that. And if you don't like it, go sell it.
That does sound
I
pretty
just
cool.
love it.
And, you know,
It is. It's really cool.
That by itself actually sounds pretty cool now that you're describing that. I did enjoy Forza Horizon 2. We talked about that last year when I got the Xbox One. And there's been a few times I've returned to that game and didn't necessarily talk about it because I only played it for like an hour. But every time I've enjoyed it. And again, I've said this many times. I'm not a big fan of cars or racing games. I don't care about, you know, how much horsepower engines have, whatever. Like, I'm not a car guy. I'm not a gearhead. But I had a lot of fun with that game. It was fun to play. Had just, in my opinion, just the right feel of realism mixed with arcade style driving. So I really liked it. I'll tell you what, if they had this Hot Wheels DLC as like some sort of standalone $10 experience, I wouldn't have even hesitated. But Forza Horizon 3's been out for a while. I'd bet there's probably some kind of special edition, including the DLC, that's not too expensive these days. You got my interest kind of peaked a little bit here.
Yeah, I think it's one of those games you should buy it and just be like, it's gonna be my side game. Like, I'll just use an example. I'll play Mass Effect Andromeda, but when I'm not in the mood for that, Forza is what I'm gonna play, and it fits in there perfectly. It's a good like Rocket League substitute where you just relax, you go on there, play a couple races, go sell some cars, go find some cars. There's just so much to the world. They did a really good job. I already said Horizon 2 is my favorite racer of all time, beating out Burnout Paradise. So Horizon 3, I was real hyped for it, but when it came out, I just wasn't in the mood. But now I'm kind of in the mood, and it's going above and beyond even Horizon 2 with all the DLC, all the cars, the auctions, everything. I love it.
Very cool. Yeah, that one looks like a lot of fun. And hey, it's another good it's one of the few good reasons to turn that Xbox One on. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I should do that. There you go. I've just made some Xbots upset. All right.
You're just all over the place.
I'm gonna
pissing off ponies, pissing off bots.
Yeah, well, I even pissed off Nintendo people when I said Zelda's not a lock for Game of the Year. They're sitting there going, "What?
What do you mean?"
Yeah. Well, that discussion will happen in a future episode. I just don't want everyone to think it's 100% lock because it's a special year, so I can't say anything's a lock at this point. All right. And Minecraft Switch Edition came out. It's worth mentioning. It's at an 87. Metacritic, not up for this particular conversation, though. I'm not a PC gamer, but Derek, maybe these two interest you. I know you don't like either genre, so I know they won't interest you, actually. Galactic Civilizations 3 Crusade, which is, I believe, a real-time strategy style game, I think. But I've heard people talk about the Galactic Civilizations franchise before. It's very well loved. Apparently, it's very in-depth with a high learning curve, so not super for me. 86 on Metacritic. Tied with that at 86 is a game called Paradigm. Very trippy looking adventure game. I looked this up earlier this week. It looks really weird. It's only on PC right now, I think. But that's also at 86 on Metacritic. Those both came out the second quarter as well. Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2. I don't know, man.
Great name, guys.
Yeah. I believe that's a fighting game based on an anime or anime-style fighting game for the PS4. That has an 86. 2 more re-releases. Thumper came out last year on PC and PS4. It's now out on Switch. It's at an 86. That came out, I think, in May. Wipeout Omega Collection. Really cool collection. A really sharp-looking game. Again, it's a re-release of a collection of old games, but it's worth mentioning at an 85. And tied for the final 2 spots for our purposes today, Rhyme and Prey. The highest rated versions of those games are at 84s apiece. 84 apiece. So there's kind of an overview, and there's a lot more games. Okay, I don't know, I didn't cover everything, but those are the ones that kind of got down to the mid 80s, and it's roughly a top 10 for the year and top 10 for the quarter, just to kind of give us a frame of reference to talk about the community's picks and to talk about our favorites of Q2 so far. The one rule, Derek, that I will say for you and I. When you can see those links down below if you want to see what's come out in April, May, and June. But you and I cannot, for our discussion, we can't pick anything that released in January, February, March. We have to refrain from picking those. So we're not going to be comparing, let's say, Prey to Nier Automata right now.
Yeah.
So we're just going to talk our picks for Q2 so far. All right, but Derek, while you look at some of the Q2 releases, we're going to talk about the community's votes. Talk about the community results from this mid-year Game of the Year award vote that we just had. So, like I said, we had several votes come in. I'll just say multiple dozens of votes, much more than I thought. So we got more than I thought. It was really cool to see this many. It was not quite to the level of our full-on Game of the Year voting, where we had tons. But this time around, we had more than I thought we'd get. So what I did for this is I just had one category. Basically check the boxes beside your three favorite games so far this year. In no particular order, just pick the top 3, and then we'll just do a straightforward tally. When we do our Game of the Year voting, it's going to be a little more specific, where we want you to give each one a ranking. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But for right now, let's talk about who won. By the way, what games do you think are in the top 3 in any particular order, if you had to guess, so far this year?
For this year, I think Horizon's gonna be 1, Zelda 2, and Nier 3.
Okay, let's see how accurate you are. Let's talk about a few honorable mentions first. With 18% of the vote, Mass Effect. By the way, this isn't total vote because you could vote for up to 3, so the percentages aren't going to add up to 100. But 18% of people picked Mass Effect in their top 3. That did not finish in the top 3, just worth mentioning. Let's see, what else is worth mentioning? I thought there was one other one. Oh, I guess there's 2 here. What was that one? Oh, Neo had 12%. And Persona 5 had 12%. So our community enjoyed those games, Mass Effect, Neo, and Persona 5, but none of them finished in the top 3. In the number 3 spot, do you want to give me a drum roll? Yeah, we're both pretty tired. All right, so number 3 spot is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's our community pick. That was in the top 3, 21.8% of the time. This doesn't surprise me for a number of reasons. Number 1, not everyone in our group has a Wii U or a Switch to even play this game. So that's not too surprising, but...
actually, most of our members don't have
Exactly. One. So the fact that it got that many votes is pretty impressive. But the other reason, I think, is that when a game is that overhyped, a lot of people just kind of wait to play it because they don't want it to be like a spoiled experience that they're expecting too much. So I know that people have that real thought of, this game is just too overhyped. I got to wait till the hype dies down and I can play it with just kind of a straightforward, I can just approach it with a clear mind. So some people are waiting to play that for whatever reason. Number 2, with 23.6% of the vote, just barely beating Legend of Zelda, is Nier Automata. Got 23.6% of the vote.
Some
fantastic game.
People in our group, by the way.
What?
And you're one of them.
What's that?
Nier. I said that's a lot of stupid people in our group, and you're one of them, apparently.
It's not stupid people in our group. It's smart people in our group. That game is 100% in the running for Game of the Year. It should be in the conversation for best PS4 Game of the Year, and it should also...
Can you edit Donald Trump, please? Just telling everybody to get him out of here. Get him out of here. If you voted for Nier, get him out of here.
Get him out of here! Get him out of here! Get the hell out of here!
I don't need to
There
put
you go,
Trump in there.
that's
You did
my
a pretty
Trump.
good job with that. That's good enough. All right, and number one, you were right. It wasn't even close. 63.6% of people put Horizon Zero Dawn in their top 3 games of the year. What's going to be interesting, that was number one for mid-year. What's going to be interesting is when people have to come down to ranking the games and saying, okay, this one was number 1, number 2, number 3, and that actually assigns point values, right? We do that tally to kind of see what the actual best game of the year was. I do wonder if people, if 63.6% of people who picked this one, if they have it mostly as their number 1, number 2, or number 3 game. It's hard to tell which one's their favorite. So anyway, thank you guys for participating in that. It's always cool to see what people are enjoying. Unfortunately, I have to admit that Derek apparently has his finger on the pulse of the group. He knows what we like and don't like. He pays more attention than he lets on. So that's a little scary.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
All right, let's talk about our picks then. And this is just from second quarter, okay? So we can't, like I said, no Legend of Zelda, no Nier, no Horizon, no Neo.
Well, then there's no point talking about this because second quarter is trash. That's exactly how I would describe second quarter.
All right, well,
Trash.
let's talk about, as we think through this real quick. We got a few extra minutes. Let's talk through what the notable releases were in the second quarter. So I'm looking on GameInformer.com, and they have it's not an exhaustive list of game releases, but it's a lot of the major games that came out this year.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get down to April, here's the games that jump out at me. Persona 5,
Yeah.
Yooka-Laylee, just in terms of like big name games.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, the new Telltale game. And by the way, there's just episode 1, and I think episode 2 also came out during this quarter. Looking down the list here. Outlast 2 is notable enough it's worth mentioning. Puyo Puyo Tetris came out. Dragon Quest Heroes 2, was that a re-release or is that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so
It's a new one.
Dragon Quest Heroes 2, there you go. Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. What Remains of Edith Finch. Little Nightmares, got a lot of love. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, unfortunately not a new release this year, but I highly recommend it if you have a Switch. It's amazing. Oh, people are shooting off fireworks. I thought I was getting shot at for a second. All right, and then in May we had Prey. We had Farpoint, Injustice 2, re-release of Thumper, Fire Emblem Echoes. We haven't mentioned that yet. Shadows of Valentia came out for 3DS. Again, a bunch of re-releases. Things like Darksiders War Mastered Edition, Disgaea 5 Complete for Switch. Let's see here. Friday the 13th. I've heard some interesting stories about how this game can be fun with friends, but it sounds a lot like Evolve. Like you have to have the exact right group of people playing it because of the, one versus everybody nature of the game. Sounds interesting, but okay. Rime came out. It was the much anticipated Rime finally came out, and I think it's already kind of been forgotten by most people who have played it.
Well, once I found out there was no combat really at all, I lost any interest. I really felt like this game should have been I don't even care if it was a blatant ripoff of Zelda. Do Zelda, but do it in your own art style, with your own world and your own characters. And they do take from Zelda. It's obvious, but they don't take everything, and they kind of left out the thing that I would care about.
Gotcha.
Which would be the combat and weapons and armor and all that stuff. They left that out, so I have zero interest.
Yeah, so Rime is one of those games that I really want to play on the Switch. I feel like the environmental puzzle solving and kind of that laid-back nature of it, although disappointing, I totally agree with you, is a great game I could kind of play while the TV's on, while I'm watching football.
I think you would like it more than me, but I just didn't want to. I had originally pre-ordered it and then didn't bother even going and picking it up because I was like, I'm not going to like this. I'm going to get mad at it. So I ended up getting a refund and buying something else.
Well, and then in June, we saw a few collections release, things like Wipeout Mega Collection. Then we saw Dirt 4 arrive. Tekken 7 came out. I guess that's considered a new release, even though it's been in arcades for, I think, a little while. Dirt 4, I already mentioned Dirt 4. ARMS was a pretty big release for the Switch. They've been talking about that one since they announced Switch in the first place. Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood came out with much excitement building up to it. I think there's been some issues server-wise and stuff with that game. I don't know how that's doing now, but Still a lot of hype for that. 3DS owners got Ever Oasis, which I think has reviewed well, but I haven't really read much about it. And Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, again, a collection of games finished out this month of June, in addition to some DLC for Zelda, which is cool. But again, as I glance through this list, there's not a ton there that gets me super pumped. There's a few things that I'm interested in. If you listened as we talked through those games, there's some stuff like, oh, I want to try that. Oh, I would replay that one. So I actually think Q2 is a relatively weak quarter after a very strong Q1 and what looks to be an insane Q4. And I think Q3 is going to be pretty strong. But I think Q4.
I think so. I think Q3 is going to start off kind of weak, but once you get into early August, then it starts building.
See, I don't think it gets really strong until the end of August. I think Hellblade is a nice game, but then I don't think there's much till August 29th.
Well, see, and you and I are different. I'm interested in more games in August than you are. Like, I'm interested in Agent of Mayhem. I'm interested in Madden Story Mode. Like, I have a full, like, a big list for August. So, okay. July, the only one I'm interested in getting is Final Fantasy 12. Other than that, I don't think there's really anything to even care about in July, and then August is when it starts building, and then September, October, it's relentless after that. So far, even though we've talked about how 2017 is this amazing year, the first 3 months, it's beyond amazing. To even say, and I'm not saying you said it wrong, but to say strong first quarter is, to me, even an understatement.
Yeah,
it's
no, you're right.
A ridiculous first quarter.
Yeah.
The second quarter is kind of weak overall. I would say, what do you want to do? Do you want to just pick our favorites as far as like our top 3, or
however you want to do it?
one?
I mean, there might not be 3, and we can kind of take the rules off in terms of this has to quote unquote qualify for Game of the Year. Let's include DLC. Let's include any kind of re-release stuff that you've been playing.
Yeah, I think anything that just released.
Yeah,
in
anything
Q3
is game for our purposes right now. What's been your favorite game that released, re-released or not, in Q2? Just pick 1 or 2 or 3.
I would say Injustice 2 was my favorite. And that being said, I just played through the story and played a little bit outside of it, and that's it. So that's why I can say Q2's been completely weak, is because there's just been nothing that's held my attention. I played The Surge quite a bit, but even after I got through the first portion of The Surge and got past the first boss, I went into the second area and played a little bit, lost interest. I was like, I'm not in the mood for this. I don't know if I'm just not in the mood for a Bloodborne / Dark Souls game, because they're a heavy investment. Like, I'm a fanboy, but I don't want to play them 12 months a year. So it, to be fair, it's not at that quality. It's a good game, but they're not at that quality. But I would say overall, Injustice 2 was probably my favorite, but it never really hooked me.
All right, let me pick my favorite then so far.
5 would be second, but again, I've already said how I feel about Persona 5.
So my favorite so far is a re-release of a game that I had never played. So for me, it was brand new, and that was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's a beautiful game. It runs super smooth, both in handheld mode and on the big TV mode with the Switch. And now that we have enough controllers for us to play 4-player, we've had a lot of fun with it. I really have enjoyed it. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is an amazing game. I honestly think it's probably the best version of Mario Kart that's out there. I think it has some of the best pieces from all of the Mario Karts that came before it. Everything from double items to the battle mode to the number of characters you can pick, and it has the best of the best courses that you can select. It's got a great online mode. It's actually, even though that Nintendo in general, their online experience is still clunky because they haven't totally initiated their whole online infrastructure. My experience with playing online Mario Kart has been pretty seamless. It's a little cheesy. You go into that little chat room where you stand on the edge of the world and can say little phrases to each other, but it's been pretty smooth. So all that to say, my experience with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has been nothing but amazing. It's been totally flawless. I've had a ton of fun with it. I love 200cc. I love the new courses. It's fun to play with friends. It's fun to play online. I love that game. So it's to me, it's been easily my favorite of Q2. And honestly, the other games that I've loved this quarter weren't released this quarter. Some of them were released the previous year. Some are released in Q1, and I finally caught up to them. But if I had to pick more games from Q2 that I really liked, it's all Switch. It's all Switch stuff. I really have enjoyed ARMS a lot. I think it's very creative. I think Nintendo deserves a lot of credit for taking some risks with stuff like Splatoon and ARMS. I hope they continue to let their kind of younger, more creative developers build out these ideas. I think we need developers like that. I think ARMS is really, really great. If you like fighting and or boxing games, you 100% should play it. It's fun. It's very fun. It's not perfect. Yes, it's kind of shallow at times, but it's surprisingly fun. And I've loved, I know you'll love these, Graceful Explosion Machine and Thumper. 2 other games, the very indie style. I think they were each $12 maybe. Very awesome, short experiences. Thumper is incredibly challenging. Graceful Explosion Machine, somewhat challenging. But I thought those were also really, really fun, just in terms of games that released this quarter. But everything else that I've really enjoyed this quarter has been like Mad Max. That was 2 years ago now, right? So I really loved Mad Max. I really liked Nier Automata. I am really loving Mass Effect Andromeda. I finally finished Zelda. So everything I'm playing has been released before Q2. Yeah, it's just the way it goes, you know. So in terms of games,
that's kind of the same thing I've been doing.
In terms of games that released this quarter, it's
games.
Okay.
I finished my major game in Q2 that I finished was a Q1 with Zelda.
Yep.
I'm replaying Mass Effect, Deus Ex. I started Mad Max. I'm playing Forza Horizon 3. So that's why I think Q2 is kind of I don't want to say a letdown, but it just didn't have a lot for me. But also I think it's because Q1 was so overwhelming.
Totally.
I'm kind of glad Q2 wasn't big. I had fun with my time with like Prey. But once I started getting confused and all that stuff, I was like, no, I'll just go back to games that I'm having a little bit more fun with. So it's been a little bit of a letdown, but at the same time, I'm kind of grateful for the letdown because it's given me time to catch up.
Yep, totally. So yeah, I totally agree with you. It wasn't necessarily this horrible run of 3 months of games. It just wasn't. It didn't measure up to the previous 3 months, and that's just natural. That's just natural flow of things, the way things release, it's going to be really interesting to see how Q3 and Q4 measure up to what was one of the best 3 month stretches I've ever seen in Q1. It was really one of the best ever.
I really want to see, and I know we've talked about this, but I'm going to keep saying it. Maybe one day we'll get lucky and some like big time developer will be like, I'm a dad and I like games. Whoa, Fathers of the Grind, I want to listen to this show. And they'll listen and they're like, oh, that Derek guy said that we should release a major game in July because it'll do really good. It will do really good, guys. It's no longer soccer moms buying all the video games. It's us. It's Fat Boy here who's 30-something years old, and when he's not doing daddy stuff and adult stuff, he likes to buy games year-round. So if you'll release a game in July, I'll buy it.
That's right. That's right.
Just letting you know.
I just saw a comment today from, I want to say it was Christopher Seifus from our group, and it was really funny. And I can't remember the quote exactly, but he basically said the same exact thing. He said, developers need to learn to release games in July. I would drink every game up like I'm, dying of thirst in the Mojave Desert. Like, that's all I want.
It has to get spread out because, like it or not, I don't think 2017 is going to be the end of us feeling, as I'm talking to us like gamers, feeling overwhelmed with too many releases.
No.
This is a huge industry.
Yeah.
People are trying to make money off of this.
Dude, have you seen the games that have been pushed to early 2018 already?
Yes.
I mean, the first half of 2018.
So they need to start spreading this out year-round. Somebody needs to take a risk. And it could be a smaller team, maybe like a game like The Surge or something like that. And somebody needs to step in and go, you know what? We never release big games in June and July. Now's the time to do it.
It's because I think publishers still are hesitant to do that because they still treat most gamers like they are retail shoppers. They don't treat most gamers like they're digital shoppers, which is I shop all
The Last of Us
time
2 did just fine in June.
Right.
The Last of Us 2 did just fine in June.
Last of Us 2.
I'm sorry, The Last of Us.
Oh, okay.
I've got my head on the sequel.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Last of Us did just fine in June. Yep. Games will succeed if you will put a good game, I'm just pulling this one out of my hat, Wolfenstein 2. I was talking to Rob about this. There's no reason for Bethesda to release 2 major games this year in October.
Right.
So The Evil Within 2 makes sense for October.
It does.
I think, and I'm not saying that Wolfenstein is not going to sell well. I actually think it will. But I do think a lot of its success was because it released in, I believe, May, when they originally released the first one.
Yeah.
It was an early year game,
Okay.
and so it kind of caught people off guard, like, not early year, but like first half.
Yeah.
And it caught people off guard, and I think if they would have done the same thing here, July, early August, they would have seen big success. But we'll see how they
totally
do.
Agree. Yeah, I totally agree with that. All right, so let me ask you one more question as we close out here. Actually, two more questions. What is the next game that you plan to buy?
I do want to get Final Fantasy 12, but if I don't get it day one, it's no big deal. The next one that I've already purchased that's coming out is now I'm forgetting the name. What's the freaking game that Jesse White likes?
Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah, I kept trying to think of Senua.
Yeah.
It's Hellblade. Yes, I've already pre-ordered Hellblade.
Which
so
looks
that's
to
the
be a
next one
very
for
cool but
sure.
short experience, right? I mean, that's what it's looking like right now.
Looks like it's going to be about a 5 to 7 hour experience.
Totally fine with that. Yep.
Yeah, I'm fine. In the world of big games like Zelda and Horizon, all this stuff, give me more of the linear, smaller.
Well, yeah, and especially if they
experience.
give you good reason to replay it, to run through it again. If it's fun, if the combat's as fun as it looks like it's going to be. So.
And that's I've always said that, and I don't want to deviate, but I do want to make sure I say this. I've always enjoyed, like, I always hear as a negative, oh, that game's only 8 hours long. Gears of War was like 8 or 9 hours at max, and I played that game like 5 times. So if you take 8 times 5, that's a 40-hour gameplay experience for that game. And I'm just talking for the campaign.
Right.
If a game is good, you'll come back to it, and if you come back to it, that how long it is doesn't matter. If it's good.
And keep in mind, Hellblade is not a full price game.
Yep, I only paid $30 for it, and I really didn't pay $30 for it because I actually had $30 in Sony rewards, so I got it for free. I just used my reward.
Yeah, so Hellblade is not full price for those of you who are more budget conscious, like cheap ass Tim over here. So there you go.
Yeah.
Next game that I plan to buy, because you and I have kind of planned out the rest of the year, trying to do some splitting up of the purchases a bit, as you have now branched out, like the rich white man you are, to buy a lot of PC stuff and Xbox One X stuff. So, you and I have talked a lot about who's going to buy what and how we're going to split that up. So the next game that I plan on purchasing 100% on my own is Mario and Rabbids. Comes out at the end of August.
I can't wait for that one. I'm really excited for that. And I also want to say that because I feel like we should be transparent on this show, my PC was fully purchased by Cliffy B.
Sure.
We've been in a relationship for 3 months now.
Right.
And he bought me the PC so I could play Lawbreakers and talk about it on my podcast because he's trying to get the word spread.
Well, thanks for being honest with everybody and letting us all know about that. That's good.
Yeah. So, gay reacts only, please, people. Gay reacts only.
I'm pretty sure Pride Month is over. All right. All right, and last question. This is a prediction for both of us. What game will finish with the highest Metacritic average in 2017?
Zelda.
Really?
No doubt. Nobody else has a shot.
I totally disagree. I think Mario Odyssey has a shot, and I think it will beat it. I think it will finish with a 98.
No.
Yes.
No. Mario's going to finish with a 95.
Which would, of course, still be amazing. I know we're kind of arguing about tiny little differences here. That's still like a masterpiece of a game. I really think it's going to beat it. I think Mario is shaping up to be one of those games that...
Let's make a bet on it, and
Okay.
before Mario comes out, I'm going to become a certified reviewer, and I'm going to give it 0 out of 10.
So it's sitting at 98, and all of a sudden it bumps down to 96. And I'm like, what happened?
I lost. How? Derek, the Cliffy B's boyfriend reviewer guy, gave it a 0 out of 10.
All right, we should make a bet of some kind. What should it be? Like a gift card for the online store of choice?
Sure, I think that would be good.
What?
Let's make a $20 bet.
All right. All right.
I
So
say
you say it
Zelda
will be
will say-
less. So you're saying 96 or below, and mine's 97 and above. Or if it's 97, then it's a draw, and if it's 98 and above, I
I
win.
say we just keep it simple. You think Mario's going to beat Zelda. I don't think Mario's going to beat Zelda. So if Mario beats him, you win.
Right.
If Mario doesn't, I win.
But if it's
no
a
other
draw,
game matters. No other game matters. So if another game comes out, let's say Wolfenstein comes out and it gets 100 across the board.
That I agree with, because that wasn't
the bet's off.
But if it ends
Zelda
in
and
a
Mario.
dead tie with Zelda, we'll just call it a draw, and I'll let you and Cliffy B live happily ever after. So, I think Mario's gonna beat it. So that's my prediction. I really do. I think Mario's
Sexy AF.
I think Mario's gonna beat it. Oh man. All right. Well, that does it for our mid-year Game of the Year conversation. Thank you, Derek, for taking time this week. Thank you, listeners, for letting us invade your ears every week. I don't know. That's a weird sentence. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, and if you've made it to the end of the show, if there's anything you guys, I like the rhythm we have. Tim does an outstanding job of picking topics, and I like the flow we have. But if there's anything you guys like, anything you want us to hit on, like not hit on, but like any topics you want us to discuss or questions you have, give it to us. Like, we'll do it. Like, we're a fan show, and I know we're not as big as other podcasts, but we have some faithful listeners, and we like to engage you guys. I like throwing out people's names and talking to them like everybody that listens knows who they are. Even though I do know not everybody knows, but give us some stuff and we'll use it for future.
Yeah, and I know that we actually have a surprisingly big silent listenership. People who I don't know who they are who are listening. So if you are one of those, feel free to reach out to either one of us if you have a question for the show, or like Derek said, a suggestion. That would be awesome. And like Derek said, we don't make any money off of this. We don't make any money on advertising. This isn't something this is just something we do as a hobby.
We do this for fun, and
you are getting 100% honest thoughts and reactions, and obviously we're not you're not getting paid for this in any way, shape, or form. So hopefully
and I said last week, if you join our group, don't be scared. We're all rude, blah blah blah. I stand by that, but I also want to say, just block Sasan and Bill Ted and you'll be fine. Just block those two guys and you won't get offended. Block John Martin because he's black. But other than that, if you get rid of...
Everything you said was so nice, and now all of a sudden you're going all racist on us again.
If you block those three people, you will have zero issues in that group.
All right, guys, next week, or in the next couple weeks, we'll be doing a State of Xbox and State of PlayStation conversation. We had a lot of positive feedback from the Nintendo conversation. We want to keep that rolling, and so look forward to that. That's it. We're done. Episode 78 is in the books. We'll catch you guys next time.
Who is your daddy?
I am your father. You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?